Welcome to my biased, non-biased review of Death Stranding. Let me get the bias out of the way. Screw Konami, I spent $400 on this game because I wanted the console and to support Kojima the best way I could. But I'm here to review the game for what it is, and before I start, I also gotta say that I cannot review every aspect of this game. This video would be well over 2 hours long, and with that being said, I'm going to review what I felt was important to the game. So if you made it this far, my name is Tanner, and this is For Your Money. A different kind of review. We've been waiting on Death Stranding for a long time. I mean, this game shouldn't even exist. After years of cryptic trailers that helped us understand the game as much as we understand Kojima's mind in general, I can finally tell you what's happening in all the trailers. So let's kick this off with the story. Death Stranding's story takes a simple idea and expands it into the realm of Kojima. You play as Sam, who is tasked by Bridges to help rebuild America. America is doomed since the void outs. BTs have sprung up everywhere. People aren't getting the supplies they need. Some want information from the UCA, and some just want to give the UCA information. You've been tasked with uploading bases to the chiral network in order to reconnect the whole continent. America cannot be built with bridges alone. It needs everyone else. There are a great many obstacles in your way, some being people who just want to live off the grid, like you. Some just want the BTs to take over America. But the most difficult obstacle is the world. It is unforgiving and it's gonna be tough. That's the main mission in the game. There are tons of other side stories that go into this, and they affect the main story. Other stories consist of a guy in a golden mask and what the hell is his fetish? Why does everyone in this game like to cry? And where did my BB come from? I mean, there's just tons. And also, you're probably lost, so I'll explain. A void out occurs when a BT eats a dead body. Now this takes time, so a void out isn't immediate. To stop the process, you have to burn the body away from the city. A BT, without spoiling much, is just a dead entity that wants to devour the living. And Bridge is the company you work for, and then the UCA is an acronym for United Cities of America. So with all that out of the way, this game's story is freaking phenomenal. I never felt lost trying to understand what was happening. In fact, the story was spread out but still close together. So you had time to wrap your head around the information that was being given to you. Everyone and everything in this game has a story, and you're gonna learn it. NPCs affected by the packages you deliver will update you on their lives and the well-being of the communities that they're in via email. So the story and the world building just doesn't stop. Now you don't have to read these emails, but some of them are juicy. And some of them ask you to deliver stuff. For example, I had an email asking me to deliver a pizza, and I'll be damned if I didn't do it. But with all this story stuff, I have to tell you the most interesting part for me was the fact that everyone had their own theories about the Death Stranding, and every one of their theories made sense, and they had evidence to prove that it makes sense. Now, Death Stranding would be the BTs. Why are they here? What is their end game, and how can they be stopped? BTs sure as shit know how to halt your delivery, so that'll bring us to the gameplay. Now, I know I say some games have a beefy gameplay section. Screw that. This game is just insane on gameplay and gameplay mechanics. Sure, it may look like a walking simulator 5.0, but it is way more than that. So let me start simple and try to get more complicated. Death Stranding, even if you disagree, is a puzzle game. You have to figure out the environment while considering the load you're carrying. How do you get over a mountain with a delivery pack 2 street signs tall? It ain't easy, but it's doable. Let's pretend that multiplayer doesn't exist. Going to your destination is going to require you to shift your load weights left and right, because when you turn in any direction with the heavy load, it starts to tip, and if you don't shift the weight, then you fall and then you damage the goods. Therefore, you're decreasing the amount of likes and supplies you'll receive in return. One great thing you can do is center your balance. You don't move as fast, no, but it does ensure that you don't lose your balance when climbing inclines. Most of the time, it's not about speed. Just get the goods there on time. Some deliveries do have a time limit, but it's highly feasible. Once I had an hour to do a job, and I finished it in 15 minutes. So there's that piece of information you didn't ask for, but it's helpful. Now, everyone knows that there's something up with ladders in this game, so what is the hubbub? Ladders are just one of many pieces of equipment. You carry ladders as every other piece of equipment on your back, so equipment does take up weight. Ladders are designed to get you to a higher elevated area or even use them as bridges. Personally, I didn't really use the ladders due to the fact that this game is like Skyrim. You can pretty much climb and walk up anything as long as you have a good technique. What I did like was the climbing anchors. I had no issue getting up to where I needed to go, but I had the issue of, well, how am I supposed to get down? This is where the anchors come in. Put one of them in the ground and you can now rappel/climb 30 meters. So yeah, equipment helps you, but be sure to take only what you need because as I said before, it takes up weight. Now, when that happens, you risk being over encumbered and you have a heavy load for unnecessary reasons. Equipment isn't always needed. Sometimes no equipment equals better timing. It does become a hassle to focus on shifting weight, so without that worry, the game does become more enjoyable. Now, as I said for a moment, we're going to pretend online doesn't exist. It's gonna be hard. There are times you have to carry people and corpses, and you can't carry any equipment on your back, so you have to succumb to the environment, and 9 times out of 10, take the longest route there is. On top of that, you have to carry bombs, and if these have so much as a scratch on them, you fail, but you can start from last save, and this game does have a fairly awesome autosave. Now, since these items can't get scratched, going into rivers is rough, because if you run out of endurance while crossing the river, well, you lose your cargo and you're floating downstream until you regain your endurance, but you would have exploded by that time. And to add that there is no swimming, not even with the otter hat. With that hat, you just paddle. I mean, there's just no swimming in this game. Not being online means you gotta build bridges, zip lines, safe houses, etc. I mean, all by yourself. And it takes so much damn material to do all this stuff. I'm not saying don't get this game if you refuse online. I'm just saying it may be a tad more difficult. You will, however, see structures built by the main characters, and that's going to help you out. Some bridges and some ladders will be built by them, so not everything will be super ridiculous. Now, if you are online, then you're going to have tons of help anyways. People will make zip lines, ladders, anchors, safe houses, and then in the safe houses, you can get your exosuits to either move faster, keep balance, or just move better in rough terrain. Or you can even summon a vehicle, but I'll get to that in a second. My point is there are no limits on how you can get to where you need to go. Now, I'd often slide down slopes to get to the bottom of a hill faster, but that was just my playstyle. If your packages sustain a lot of damage, you can use the container spray to beef it back up. Now, it doesn't always work like a charm, but when timefall hits and your package is rusting to hell, it does help. No, wait. I just said timefall, so yeah. Timefall is rain or snow that causes people and items to accelerate in age or condition. People get older and cargo gets damaged. The container spray is the Mr. Clean for cargo damage by timefall. When timefall kicks in, you're most likely going to run into BTs. Now be wary because BTs are relentless, and if they catch you, most likely all your gear is going to fall on the ground and you have to escape the circle of tar while knocking back the enemies grabbing you trying to pull you into the pit. Once you're out of the pit, the tar will disappear, allowing you to run back and grab your stuff, but you have to hurry because it might happen again. Well, what if you fall in the tar pit? Well, then the camera from Evil Dead kicks in and you're now either fighting or outrunning a boss, which most of the time is a BT whale. Yes, you can fight BTs. This doesn't happen until maybe hour 3 or 4, but once you fight the first one, you can fight any of them. But if you have an exosuit, you can easily escape the area and then turn around and go back through easy peasy. Other than trying to outrun BTs, there are 2 sure ways to get past them. Sneak past them or cut the cord you see attached to them. But you can't cut the cord until about hour 20. Yeah, it does seem like a while, and it is. I mean, that's what I mean by this game being massive. New ways to do everything pops up even in the last moments. It's Kojima's way of keeping the gameplay fresh even on hour 30. Now, I mentioned combat, so yeah, there is combat. You'll come across a faction called Mules. They're a group that are out to steal your packages and use them for simplicities. Something may be of the utmost importance to you, but to them it's scrap. Now you can sneak by them if you choose, but they can ping your cargo and find your location, until you unlock an advanced scanner that eliminates their scan once you scan at the exact same time they do. But for this case, you don't have one. You either gotta fight or run. Thing is, running away from enemies tends to make Sam exhausted, and while he can run a good distance with good timing, he does get tired, as I would too if I were hiking through America looking for Mordor. Now, while running, they can shoot, steal cargo with the grapple, or throw spears of electricity at you, and that shit hurts worse than a bee sting. So, I fought most of the mules I encountered. Attacking is simple. Assuming you have nothing in your hand, just press square 3 times and you get a 3-hit combo. Pick up the case they drop with one of your hands and then knock them cold with that. Combat does get simpler once you get weapons. such as a bola gun allowing you to shoot a wire that wraps around the enemies and incapacitates them for a good time. You could use assault rifles, shotguns, or handguns. Assault rifles have lethal or non-lethal, so it's your choice. I always chose non-lethal, that's just a preference of mine. But if all this fails you, the mules will knock you out, steal your cargo, and then take your body outside of their perimeter. Your cargo will then be inside their cargo container, and you can just go and steal it back. But, of course, you're going to maybe have to go through the same loop of fighting or running. Now, what if you don't want to fight and running is hard? Well, there is another option that doesn't take too long to unlock, and that's driving. Driving in this game has some mixed opinions, so I'm just going to tell you how it is. The game requires the trials treatment. You have to wiggle that bike back and forth to get over obstacles. Why? Look. This game is about rebuilding America. You rebuild roads and bridges. The point is for you to help rebuild these items. So of course driving over rocks is a pain in the ass because that's not what the point of the game is. Reconnect America. Build it back up so people can live and travel safely. You will do some off-roading, and my tips are obviously pivot the bike and jump. If you don't know, you can bunny hop on the bike, so do it, damn it. Let's get back to talking about the packages. At stations, you accept orders to start a delivery. Once accepted, it will tell you what's up, how much the load weighs, if it can be submerged, will vibration damage it, and what kind of obstacles should I expect on the road, to tell you the whole 9 yards. So you have the information to plan the whole trip. Once you accept the order and you see that you're over encumbered, but yet you have items you don't want to lose, what do? You put any item you want to keep in your private locker. From there, the storage will be shared through all UCA facilities. What if you want to craft an item? Well, to do so, you go to the Fabricate tab in the terminal and you'll look through the items you can fabricate. Items do take materials like metal, chemicals, resins, etc. I had plenty my whole playthrough because I'd pick up random items in the world and put them in my private locker, then I'd recycle them. Old worn down items can be recycled and turned into material. That is the key thing to remember if you haven't clicked off this review yet. Last things to mention are that resting in your private quarters is helpful. Showering allows them to study your fluids and produce items that are going to help you later, such as hematic grenades. Drinking a drink in there will boost your stamina. You can customize the color of some of your outfits, but above all, you sleep here. And when your BB gets autotoxemia, it's just vital to stay there. Now, wandering the world with a BB that can't help you see BTs is rough. Without him, you're stuck guessing where they are, and you're probably going to end up in a fight that you aren't prepared for, since your BB has autotoxemia, I assume. Now, Sam has dooms which help him sense BTs, but it takes some skill to pass through them without a BB. One interesting thing with this game is if you die, you don't exactly die. You're a repatriate, meaning you come back after you die. Once dead, you go to the other side, and you're like a traveling camera moving towards Sam to bring him back to the world of the living. I said it before, and I'll say it again. There's so much to this game. It is impossible to cover this game in a timely manner. I mean, there's no stopping how long this review could be. IGN's, I think, was maybe 6 minutes. That's just fucking false, because it's impossible to do this game in 6 minutes. I covered the gist of gameplay, so now we're going to move on over to design, being sound and graphics. So this one's kind of tricky. I'll show clips, but I can't actually put the soundtrack in here because of copyright issues due to the fact that this game has real bands doing the music for it. Bring Me the Horizon even released their new single with this game. Anyways, the sound in this game was something of a masterpiece. From running waters of the streams to the snowstorms that colder than the freezing moon. Not even to mention the BB's crying coming from my controller. I felt immersed in the world. There's no question that Kojima knew the sound direction he wanted to take in this game. I mean, have you ever played PT? If not, just look up videos, because eeriness followed every turn of the halls. And this game isn't any exception with the sound. When you're walking in a stream and you hear the patterns of the water change because it's hitting you, you're left with nothing but respect for their sound designers. Now, I will say a disclaimer also, if you don't want the BB crying from your controller, you can switch it in the options menu. And I know Sony's next console will focus a lot on sound, and this proves it. This game was meant to be a PS exclusive, and it shows the direction of coming games. Now, I could be over-exaggerating, but I'm not. So here's a couple clips for your ears to enjoy. damn good, right? So what are the graphics? These graphics are easily some of the best I've ever seen. I've never had a frame drop or graphical hiccup with this game. Just look at the tears, for crying out loud. I mean, their eyes are red and puffy. The world isn't filled with filler items, it's crafted to be unique, so of course the graphics are impressive. Why make a game that so many people find boring if you can't create astounding graphics? I mean, am I right or am I right? Now, I experienced 2 bugs in this game, one being my equipment would rattle sometimes when I finished a delivery, but it never rattled in a major cutscene. The other one, well, it was my stupidity. I jumped off a bike in the snow, and I rolled on my back, and one piece of my cargo disappeared. Luckily, it wasn't anything important. Now, let me get my thoughts out. This game should not exist, but it does. People wanted Silent Hills, and so did I, but I've moved on. This game is fresh, and it is a new idea. I can see why people find it boring, because new mechanics are added on hour 30, but you get a story that's handled with genuine care. Since when did a good story ever turn people away? My opinion is that of my own. I feel like he created a new genre. Now, I'm not wrong, this is my opinion. And yeah, I found this game fun. From walking to point A to point B in this game, it was a damn blast. I never felt the drag of a fetch quest because I wasn't being asked by every NPC to do something for them first once I got to my designated location. And if I did, it's because they were iffy on bridges, but aren't we all iffy on corporations? Death Stranding was $60, and yes, it is worth every penny of that $60. You're getting a complete game that holds nothing back, a world of handcrafted creativity, and new gameplay mechanics. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air in our world of first-person shooters and battle royales, then this is your game. And also, yes, I missed a lot of stuff in this review, but if you take a look at the tips tab that I'm going through, I wasn't joking about this video could be over 2 hours long if I went over every bit of detail. It's massive, it is unique, and I'm glad it exists. And yeah, this was a phenomenal gaming experience. And if you disagree with that, then hit the thumbs down and tell me that I forgot something in the comments, because somebody will. But if not, why not subscribe?